welcome to Card Design Thursday. So today I am feeling the fall and we're going to be working on a fall card. And so we're also going to be doing a little bit of layering, but not to worry, it really isn't complicated. So let me show you the card that we're going to be doing today. This is a card that I created and I really love it. I'm so ready for those fall temperatures and the fall colors. So I used the craft paper and several different papers here, put a border and did some little squares and used some leaves and did some stamping. Now that doesn't sound complicated, does it? But let me show you what you need to make this card. So of course we're going to start with our card base, and I'm using a craft paper. I just love craft paper. I don't know why, but I just do. But because it reminds me of the fall. So we're going to start out with just our regular card base. That's going to be 4.5 by 5.5. Okay, so you just cut your paper on the 8-inch side to 4.5, and then you're going to lay it on your scoreboard or with a ruler on the 11-inch side and score it at 5.5. And then you have your 4.5 by 5.5 card. Then you're going to need a mat that is 4.25 by 5 3/8. Okay, and then you're going to need another mat that I use this sparkly paper here that's 4 by 5.25. And then we made a little border, which is this right here on our card, and I use this beautiful leaf paper here, and this border is 1 3/4 by 5.25. So it's going to be the same length as your second mat. And then you see we have these squares here, and these squares are, the first square is going to be 2 1/4. So if you have a square, it's going to be 2 1/4 all the way around. And then you're going to need 2 inner squares. That's going to be 2 inches. Now I also put just a tiny bit of paper here, the leaf paper here, and these are 7/8 by 1 3/4. So an easy way to do this is just to cut a square that's 1 3/4 and cut it in half, which will give you 7/8 by 1 3/4. Okay, so that's the paper that we're going to need and the dimensions. Then I also used the sentiment Fall Blessings from this stamp set, the autumn stamp set that I got from G's Embellishment Emporium. And then I also used some little multicolored leaves and some flowers, fall flowers, that I got a long time ago from Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure if they still have these, but you can find something similar. And I used my little fussy cutting scissors I got from G's too to cut my papers. And then I used versified ink to stamp my sentiment with. And because I don't like white edges, I used my Tim Holtz Distressed ink, and this is Vintage Photo. And so in the interest of time, I've already done most of the papers. I've already inked the edges. But I will say, this paper here, when you cut it, leaves this white raggedy edge. And sometimes I don't mind that, but sometimes I do, and this is one that I do. So I'm just taking my little fussy cutting scissors here and trimming them off. And then you notice this leaves a white edge to it, so that's why I inked the edges. And basically we're not going to get it all over, we're just going to ink the edges with it. So I'm just taking it like this and going down the edges. Just going to knock that back there, so we don't have those white edges showing. Okay, done. And I've already inked the other one, so we wouldn't have to sit here and wait so long. Now, I don't build my card on the card base, as you know, so we're going to start building our card off the base. We're going to take our first mat here, and we're going to lay down our mat here. And so you're going to want to center this. Now, of course, I will be using my art glitter glue because, as you know, I use it for everything. So I am going to glue the back of this and put it on our paper. I'm telling you, this card really is simple. Once you get your papers cut, it just goes together really quickly. So we're going to put this down here and center this up so that we have pretty much even edges all the way around. That looks pretty good. Now, before I go any farther, I wanted to do my stamping, but I want to make sure that I place my things on right first. Now, at this point, I usually do stamp my sentiments before I add any other embellishments on the card. But like I said, I would like to be able to, you know, do my placement first. So all I'm going to do is take one of my things here. I'm not laying the whole card out and laying it here, because this is basically where it's going to go. So it's going to let me be able to eyeball where I can stamp. And then I'm just going to take my sentiments. I'm going to do fall. Put it upside right would help. Okay. And my VersaFine ink. So I'm just going to center this right here and stamp. Now, I tested this before I actually used ink on this glitter paper, because, you know, sometimes glitter paper doesn't do well when you try to color it or ink or write on it. This glitter paper is from the Dollar Tree, and I have to say, it's amazing. It's so easy to stamp on, and it is also easy to write on, and it just stamps really well, and it dries really well. So, and then down here in the corner, I'm going to put blessings. So we're just going to ink this up. And my thing too, I got a little bit too big of a block. Alright, and we're just going to put this down here. So we have our sentiment on there now. And then we can take this off and start gluing those down. Now, the reason why I did that is because it also gives me a guideline when I'm gluing where I want to go. And it's hard to stamp when you got all this other stuff over here on the side. So the first thing we're going to do is take one of my 2-inch squares and glue it to my 2 1/4 squares. Make sure I got it, you know, about right in the center. I just eyeball it. I really don't stress too much over it. And that looks okay to me. Alright. I'm going to do another one. So we got those down, and I'm going to let this dry for a minute, and then we're going to take our border. Now the border should come about probably 1/4 of an inch away from the second mat, the edge of the second mat here. So I'm just going to glue this down. Okay, so we're going to go about 1/4 of an inch over. Eyeball it, make sure that it's straight, and we're going to glue this down. Okay, so this is what we got so far. And then we're just going to take our little squares and glue them on. Now, I want to come down probably about a good ½ inch and right by the fall here for the first one. And then you're going to take this one, which I need to put a little bit of glue right here. Somehow I missed that one. Okay. And then we're going to place this one on it, but at an angle from it. So we're going to come down here toward the lower part of this first square, and we're going to place this one on top and press it down. So this is what it looks like. Then we're going to take our two little pieces here that we cut, our 7/8 by 1 3/4 pieces here, and glue them in the center of those squares. And the reason I didn't glue it before I glued the square down is because I actually wanted to see it, and so I wanted to make sure that I was gluing it down where I could see that piece of paper. Okay. Alrighty, and this is what we got so far. So now all we have left to do is to glue our little leaves on. So I'm just going to glue this. And you know, I'm not too bothered that if I don't get them all completely glued down flat, because it gives it some dimension, and I really like that. So if some of the edges still stick up, I'm alright with that. Okay, and then we're just going to glue some flowers on it. I'm just doing a little dot here and in the middle of this one. In the middle of that one. And then I might just glue one right here, because I think I did on the other one. Alrighty, and I'm not too worried about the glue coming out because it does dry clear. Alright, so now we have our card. Now see, that was real simple, wasn't it? So it's all just about cutting your papers first and doing that. And actually we don't quite have our card yet. We do have to glue this down to the base. But you saw how quickly that went together. Once you cut your paper, it just is real easy to get it together. And wouldn't these be lovely for a little fall invitation if you were going to have like a Thanksgiving dinner or a get-together for the fall? I think these would be lovely to do on the outside and then stamp a little invitation thing on the inside. Okay, so we're going to just center this onto the base of the card. Make sure we have about the same space all the way around. And now we have our card. And that took us no time at all once we got, well, once the paper is cut. And honestly, it took me 5 minutes to cut the papers. So I just think those are so cute and very simple to do. So these are our cards. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video and this card, please give it a thumbs up. And make sure to subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. I have more cards coming in the next couple of weeks. They're going to be, we're going to concentrate on fall, maybe a Halloween, but and some other types of cards. And so, I hope you'll join me for those. Alright, thank you so much for watching. From my heart to your heart, I love you all. Make sure you do a random act of kindness this week. Talk to you later. Bye.